Hey everyone. So I just finished changing the oil in my Navion and I'm about to take it up for a flight just to make sure there's no leaks or anything like that. And I thought I would make a quick video and just do a walk around video of the Navion. I am not going to get into the history of the Navions really, you know, the military variations, the L-17s versus just the Navion. There are people way smarter on YouTube that you can go learn about the history. But I figured what I would do is just kind of give you a walk around of my airplane, show you some of the cool things that I like about it, some of the interesting things about it, and then take you for a quick ride. So come on. Okay, so let's get into it. So this airplane was made in 1949 by Ryan. Ryan, right around that period, a year or two before, bought the patent from North American, the makers of the P-51 Mustang, the AT-6 Texan. The Navion was actually considered to be their ploy into the market, the post-war market, hoping to tap into the desire of all those military pilots coming home from the war to keep flying. And flying something that wasn't, you know, a little tin can, something of substance. And so the Navion was made, and one of the things I love about flying the Navion is it doesn't feel like you're flying a tin can, right? I mean, there's this airplane, it's built, it's overbuilt, and there's substance, and it's built on the same machines that the P-51s were used, the same tooling, with a lot of the same techniques and materials. So just looking at this wing alone, I mean, this thing is solid. This is not a Piper Cherokee wing. This is a Navion wing. So really kind of a cool airplane. So anyway, I'll start with the prop. We'll start in the front. So the prop is a constant speed prop. My prop does have an AD against it. So every 5 years or 250 hours, it has to be taken off and sent to a shop to overhaul. That's increasingly becoming a hard thing to do because a lot of shops don't want to touch these old props. But thankfully, I've got a prop shop that has been taking care of this prop, this actual prop, for about 20 years. So they're willing to do it for me since they've got all the paperwork on it. So we've got that constant speed prop. The airplane is powered by a Continental E225 engine. So 225 horsepower. It's a 6-cylinder Continental. It uses 100 low-lead aviation gas. Here we've got our cylinders, obviously. We've got the prop governor here. We've got an oil cooler here. This is where we add the oil. This is our hydraulic reservoir. A lot of the systems for this airplane, including obviously the brakes and the landing gear and the flaps, are all run by this hydraulic system. So some of these Navions have hydraulic issues. Knock on wood, this airplane's been really, really good. Not a single drop of 5606 anywhere in the 2 or 3 years that I've owned the airplane. So continuing around the airplane, it's got super beefy landing gear. Though I haven't taken the Navion off airport, those landing gear are super beefy, you know, almost like a military grade landing gear. So they are retractable, again, using that hydraulic system on the airplane. Another really cool thing about the Navion is if you lost your hydraulic system, once you break free from the uplocks, gravity will bring them down and lock them. They are really, really safe landing gear as well because gravity will help you get the gear down. Another really cool thing about this airplane is this airplane, I don't know if you can see it, but there's no mufflers coming out of the header, right? So basically you've got your headers coming out of the cylinder and they go just right into this big old tube. This big, what they call an augmenter tube. Now, why would it have this? You know, when on an airplane like this, when you give up a muffler, you also give up cabin heat because that's where the heat for your heater comes from. So why in the heck would they take that off and put these augmenter tubes? Basically just straight headers. I think the only real reason is it sounds really awesome. So it doesn't sound like a GA plane. It's a little throatier. At least it doesn't sound like a 225. Just got a cool sound. I'm not going to say it sounds like a Mustang or anything, but it definitely is a little throatier. I think the original marketing for these back in the 50s as an aftermarket add-on, I think they said it actually gave you a little thrust, a little extra horsepower. I don't think so. No, I think it's just cool. They're cool to, it's a cool sound. And I mean, I kind of like the look of them. So, okay, so that's the augmenter tube. So we talked about the prop, we talked about the engine, the augmenter tubes, the gear. Again, they're hydraulic, super beefy, almost military grade gear. We've got our tip tank. You probably noticed that. So I've got tip tanks on each wing. These are 20 gallons on each wing. And then in the wing roots, I've got two 20-gallon main tanks. And then I've got a 20-gallon auxiliary tank behind the rear passenger seat. So 100 gallons in total, burning about 12 gallons an hour at 23 squared. Yeah, so I've got pretty good range. I've never used these tip tanks, but I've used the auxiliary tank, and even with just the auxiliary tank and the two mains at 60 gallons, that's probably plenty of fuel for my needs. Okay, keeping walking around the airplane, we've got flaps here, very similar to a P-51 Mustang flap, hydraulics, they come down. One thing I don't want to skip here is the ailerons have these counterweights, and so it really makes for a very nimble, very balanced, really sweet flying airplane. This airplane weighs about 2,000 pounds empty. So it's a heavy airplane, it's overbuilt, but the flight controls are basically balanced. So it's really nimble, it's really light on the yoke, and it's a lot of fun to fly. Okay, this airplane, I want to go back to the wing. Looking at the wing, one really cool thing about this airfoil design, and again, I'm not an aeronautical engineer, so I'm sure the keyboard commandos are going to correct me on some of this stuff. But what's really cool is the shape of the wing shifts, is different from the wing root just under the fuselage out to the tip. And it's kind of hard to see with the tip tank on, but what you'll see is out here, it's a lot more concave on the bottom versus at the wing root, which is kind of flat. So again, I'm not an aeronautical engineer, but as I understand it, it gives it really good short field performance, and that the whole wing is not going to stall at the same time. So it's a really sweet flying airplane. Short field, it's got 225 horsepower, and it's about 2,000 pounds empty. So figure with fuel and everything, you're right around 2,500 pounds. It's no slouch, man. This thing gets off the ground pretty good, even at density altitudes of around 5,000 feet. It's never been an underperformer. So been a really cool airplane. So we got balanced flight controls. We've got a really cool shaped wing. This airplane is fortunate. I've got a factory baggage door. So this baggage door sits behind the rear passenger seat, and I've got a very generous, cavernous baggage compartment. The other thing you'll probably notice is it was zinc chromated. So this airplane, all that green paint, that's actually anti-corrosive paint called zinc chromate. And that was the norm for any military aircraft. As I mentioned before, some of these airplanes did go to the military and served as L-17s, or were designated L-17s. They served as a liaison aircraft, moving, you know, Army brass from one airport to the next across the Korean Peninsula during the Korean War. This one did not. This does not have the pedigree of an L-17. However, it was zinc chromated by North American. All of the parts, the components, were assembled by North American, and then when Ryan took over, Ryan actually assembled the airplane. So this airplane benefits from the fact that it's completely zinc chromated, and there's not a lick of corrosion on this airplane that I found. And so I think that's one of the reasons this airplane is still in existence. This airplane was mothballed effectively for about 15, 16 years before I bought it. And I think, now the owner did take really good care of it. He just didn't fly it. But I do think that in that wet hangar, that humid conditions, had it not been zinc chromated, this airplane wouldn't be airworthy today. Okay, so moving around towards the back. Okay, well, you probably noticed the canopy. Another really cool factor of this airplane is, yeah, it's not a fighter, but it's got a really cool canopy that you can slide back and forth. I'll show you the cockpit in just a bit. The tail is somewhat shaped. If you squint really hard and you blur your vision a little bit, it's shaped like a P-51. So when North American designed the airplane, They really were, as I said, trying to capture the market of all of those pilots coming back from World War II. And they wanted to capture some of the essence of the P-51, so it does kind of have a P-51-ish tail, which is really cool. Okay, this airplane is equipped with ADS-B out. This is kind of the poor man's ADS-B out solution. We've got our elevator, we've got our trim tab. Again, this elevator is really balanced, really light on the controls. Just a really sweet flying airplane. Okay, next. This airplane has, one of the kind of aftermarket upgrades is this wing root kit. So you can kind of see this fairing that's bolted on that kind of gives it a little bit cleaner of a line as the wing joins the fuselage. And not only does it look good, it streamlines the airplane quite a bit. Now, as far as modifications to the airplane, a lot of these Navions that are still flying are somewhat modified. In the canopy, they'll actually remove that center bar and put one continuous piece of glass. That's a really cool upgrade. You'll notice that the windscreen is actually a split windscreen. It's got that divider down the middle. A really common thing is to put a one piece of glass there, and then they'll actually put a new frame there to actually slope the windscreen back, which improves aerodynamics and gives you a little more speed. Me personally, I actually really grown accustomed to the stock canopy and windscreen setup, so I won't be doing that. It's just a really cool airplane. They're old, they smell old, they sound old, they fly sweet. They fly on the step. That's the best way I can describe how they fly. You feel like you're in a fighter. It gives you a lot of confidence in flying the airplane. Super easy to land. Crosswind, super easy. I came from a 170 and I was flying tailwheel for a number of years, and crosswind scared the heck out of me a lot of the time. But this airplane is just a sweetheart in any wind condition. So, okay, well, let's hop up and we'll take a look on the inside. All right, so we're gonna step up here and climb up on the wing root. Okay, so here's a look at the cockpit. So this airplane really has not been touched as far as the instrumentation or the layout of the panel since 1949. Now, I do have a little iPad there for my my electronic flight bag, but other than that, it's pretty standard. We've got a kind of a modern transponder, sort of. I think it's from the 70s, but everything else is basically the way it looked in 1949, with the exception maybe of the radios too. So this airplane, the previous owner really took good care of it. Really nice interior, super spacious, super roomy. You can kind of see how huge that baggage compartment is back there. The auxiliary fuel tank sits right there under that seat, under the rear seat. This is the pilot seat, co-pilot seat. We've got gauges down there for our fuel tanks. We've got one gauge for each tip tank, a gauge for our underseat aux tank, and a gauge on the lower left-hand corner for our main tanks. There we've got our engine controls, throttle, prop, mixture, carb heat, or alternate air. Here's our gear selector, down, flaps, elevator trim, magnetos there on that switch, masters, lights, breakers are down below, and we've got our gear indicators, 3 green, or you've got red, or you've got in transit. Primer, fuel primer, hydraulic emergency shutoff, your starter, and all your kind of basic flight instruments. All right, so with that, I'm gonna pull the airplane out of the hangar and we'll go flying.
Right. Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Quarter-line traffic, jump plane 100, Delta, half mile pound runway 20, full stop, quarter-line.
Alright, we're gonna run through the startup procedure. Alright, we're gonna start this thing up. So hydraulic power's on, gears down and locked. Mixture, we're gonna go full rich. We're gonna crack the throttle just a bit. Turn on the fuel pump, give it 3 shots of prime. 2, and there's 3, fuel pump coming off. Okay, tow bar's been put away. All right, mags are coming on, master's on. Brake is set. All right, mixture's rich, props forward, here we go. Clear prop. All right, she's coming alive. All right, looks like they're using 2-0 today.
Traffic, Skyhawk 9895 Victor, left crosswind, runway 20, Coeur.
All right, so we're gonna take off on 2-0, so we got a really long way to taxi, but that's okay. Give her a little time to warm up. All right, we're gonna swing into the run-up area here and do a quick run-up, make sure she's happy and ready to fly. All right. Okay, so for the run-up, we're gonna go full rich, props forward. Flaps are up for now, gears down, mags are hot. And we're gonna run it up to 1800 RPM. All right, we're gonna check our mags, left, both, right, both, I'm happy. Let's cycle the prop a couple times.
Traffic,
We'll get that hot oil into the hub.
Final, runway 20, Coeur.
All right. I will go ahead and pull it back just a bit. We'll set our flaps for takeoff. Trick that I learned is to set your flaps at the full deflection of your left aileron, the down position. Okay, so we're gonna lean back out till we're ready to go. Main fuel is on the main tank. Auxiliary tank is off. We've got good fuel. Mixture will go rich, props full forward, we'll have the fuel pump on, alternate air is cold, flaps are set, gears down, hydraulic power's on, all of our switches and lights are in good working order. Alright, we're going to go ahead and close Canopy.
Preliminary traffic, Cap 1002, right behind 9895 Victor on the downwind for 20.
And Coeur d'Alene traffic, Navion 488 Kilo is going to be taking 20, will be left downwind departure to the north, Coeur d'Alene. And we're looking for 20, that's this runway over here.
Inbound for landing runway 6, Coeur d'Alene.
Okay, we're up, positive rate, gears coming up. All right, looks like we got the gear up and locked. We're going to pitch over for 90.
Coeur d'Alene air traffic, Cap 1002, turning left base, runway 20, touch and go, Coeur d'Alene.
All right, everything's looking good. Engine instruments are in the green. Coeur d'Alene area traffic, Navion 488 Kilos, turning left crosswind. We'll be departing the area downwind to the north, Coeur d'Alene.
Traffic, long EC 610, Tango Echo is departing to the south, Coeur d'Alene.
All right, we're going to roll our power back a little bit. All right, so I think what we'll do is head out over Bayview and go up and check out Lake Pend d'Oreille for a little bit, and then head on back to the airport.
Traffic, Cherokee 89 Foxtrot. I am about 12 to the south. Currently flying over Highway 95 towards St. Mary's, so southwest at 7,500.
All right, so here's Lake Pend d'Oreille looking all pretty. I love how the mountains just jet directly down into the water. There's no beach. That tells you just how deep this place really is. Yeah, so maneuvering an Navion, I don't know, man, it's just really cool. It's just a really cool airplane. You know, even with the split windshield and the divided windows in the back, This airplane does not lack for visibility. I've almost got a 360 degree view. All right, so we're coming up on the north end of Hayden Lake. So we're going to enter left downwind for 20, same runway we took off on. So we're going to fly down Hayden Lake, and then I'm going to make a right turn for a 45 degree left entry for left downwind 20. We'll see how it works out. And Coeur d'Alene traffic, Navion 488 kilos, making a 45 entry for left downwind 20, Coeur d'Alene. We got a guy behind me. We are getting slow. We're going to turn our hydraulic power on. We're going to go fuel pump on. We're going to ease that prop in, mixture coming in, and fuel pump's on. We're going to drop our gear. We're at 100. There we go. We're about to beam the numbers. We'll start slowing down right at TPA. We got a guy on short final landing, and we'll start easing in the flaps. There we go. Looking good. We're nice and high, but you know what? A Navion likes to be high. Once you get the gear down, the barn doors, those flaps down, boy, she just comes right down.
716 Delta Echo, 2 mile final, 06, full stop.
Coeur d'Alene traffic, Navion 488 kilos, turn in left base, 20, Coeur d'Alene.
Coeur d'Alene traffic, Super 5.
Little more flaps, pull that power. We're still really high. Okay, fuel's good. We got 3 green, hydraulic power's on, gears down and locked. We're going to dump all the flaps in here. Looks like final is clear.
Coeur d'Alene traffic, Skyhawk 9895 Victor, down clear runway 20, Coeur d'Alene.
There we go, we're coming down good. We're at 80. Coeur d'Alene traffic, Navion 488 kilos, rolling out on final for 20, Coeur d'Alene. Okay, gears down, 3 green, gears down and locked, hydraulic power's on. Fuel pump's on, mixture's rich, props forward, carb heat's cold, flaps are set, gears down, here we go. Okay, 3 green.
Coeur d'Alene traffic, Cessna 66 Lima's rolling final 20, touch and go, Coeur d'Alene.
And we're down.
Coeur d'Alene traffic, RV 716 Delta Echo is clear of 06 at Golf.
Coeur d'Alene traffic, Navion 488 kilos, clear 20, Charlie. Coeur d'Alene. All right, let's get some air. Woo! Man, that's flying a Navion. Pretty cool, huh? Coeur d'Alene traffic, Navion 488 kilos, taxiing from Alpha to Delta, the departure into 20, Coeur d'Alene.
Lima short final.
We're gonna shut her down.
Touch and go.
We'll pull the power, pull the mixture. All right, mag's off. All right, man, thanks for flying with me.
Well, that was a pretty fun flight. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of a sense of why I love my Navion, at least. I don't know about anybody else's. But yeah, this airplane is so cool. If you ever get a chance to go flying in a Navion, or if you're ever around Coeur d'Alene, you want to go for a ride, let me know. So time to put her away. Jump down here. Yeah, she's a cool airplane. She's old, but man, they don't make them like that anymore. Look at that thing. How cool is that? Yeah. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Go fly your Navion.